Sometimes the people we love the most are the ones we hurt without knowing. And sometimes life gives us one last chance to fix everything. This is the story of two hearts that broke in silence and found their way back in a most unexpected moment. My name is Ella. When I opened my eyes, I couldn't understand where I was. Everything around me was white. The walls, the ceiling, the bed sheets, even the air felt white, cold, sterile. A sharp smell of bleach stung my nose. It smelled like hospitals. It smelled like something bad had happened. A man sat beside my bed. He was holding my hand. His hand was warm, but his eyes were red and exhausted, like he hadn't slept in days. He looked at me as if I was the answer to everything he had been praying for. But I didn't know him, not even a little. His face was a perfect stranger. "Who are you?" I asked. He tried to smile, but his lips trembled. "Ella," he whispered, "you're awake." I pulled my hand away instinctively. Something inside me panicked. Before I could say anything else, a doctor walked into the room. She wore a white coat, her ID badge swinging as she moved. She had kind eyes, the kind of eyes that tried to comfort you before telling you something painful. "Ella," she said softly, "do you know where you are?" "A hospital," I answered. "Good," she said, relieved. "Do you remember what happened?" I tried to think. I really tried. But my head felt hollow, emptied out, like someone had scooped out my memories and left nothing behind. "No," I whispered. The doctor nodded. "You were in a car accident. You suffered a head injury. You have something called amnesia." "Amnesia?" I repeated. "It means you forgot things," she explained. "Some memories may return with time, but right now, your brain is protecting itself." The man beside me stood up slowly. He walked closer, careful, like he didn't want to startle me. "Ella," he said quietly, "it's me. I'm Evan." I looked at his face, the dark hair, the brown eyes, the sadness. He looked worried, but I felt nothing. No recognition, no familiarity, nothing. "I don't know you," I said bluntly. He flinched. His expression cracked with pain. The doctor placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Give her time," she murmured. That was the beginning. I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. Evan visited every day. He brought flowers. He talked to me. He told me stories about us, about our life together, about vacations we took, about memories I apparently cherished. But none of them felt real to me. They felt like someone else's dreams. On the 3rd day, the doctor told me I could go home. "Home?" I asked. "Yes," she said, "your boyfriend will take you." "Boyfriend?" I echoed. I looked at Evan. He gave me a small, hopeful smile, but there was sadness shining underneath it. We live together," he said quietly. "We have an apartment." A cold feeling spread inside me. This man said he was my boyfriend, yet I felt nothing but distance, like we were standing on 2 different planets. but I had nowhere else to go. Evan drove me home. I stared out the window, watching the city pass by. The streets looked familiar. The shops looked familiar. But Evan was still a stranger. When we arrived, he opened the car door for me. "This is home," he said gently. We walked into a 4-story building and took the elevator up. Evan unlocked the door and stepped aside, letting me walk in first. The apartment was small, neat, warm. There were plants by the window, a cozy sofa, a small kitchen. It felt lived in, comfortable. But not mine. "Do you remember anything?" he asked softly. I shook my head. No. He looked down at the floor. "That's okay." He walked to a shelf and picked up some photographs. "Look," he said, "these are us." I took the photos. In one picture, a girl and a man stood on a beach. The girl was smiling brightly, her hair blowing in the wind. The man had his arm around her. The girl looked like me, but younger, happier. "That's us," Evan said, "last summer." I swallowed hard. I looked at another picture, Christmas. The girl was wearing a red sweater, kissing the man's cheek. She looked in love, deeply. "I don't remember her," I confessed. "I don't remember that feeling." Evan took back the photographs slowly, carefully. "It's okay," he said again, but his voice was barely a whisper. That night felt heavier than any night of my life. Evan made dinner. We sat together, but the silence between us was too thick, too full of everything we weren't saying. He kept asking what I remembered. I told him. My name, my parents, my childhood, school. "What about us?" he asked. "Nothing," I said. "Last 3 years are gone." His eyes filled with tears, but he blinked them away, pretending to be strong. After dinner, he showed me the bedroom. "This is our room," he said quietly. The bed looked huge, too big, too intimate. "I can't," I whispered. "I'm sorry." Evan backed up immediately. "Don't be sorry. You can sleep here. I'll take the sofa." "No," I insisted. "Please. I want to sleep on the sofa." He nodded and brought me a pillow and blanket. "Good night, Ella," he said softly. "Good night," I replied. He closed the bedroom door and I lay down on the sofa. The blanket was soft, but I felt cold inside, lonely, lost, guilty. A kind man loved me a girl who no longer existed. And I was the empty shell left behind. I closed my eyes, but sleep refused to come. Somewhere in the apartment, Evan was alone, hurting, missing someone who wasn't coming back. The next morning, Evan came out of the bedroom with messy hair and tired eyes. He smiled, trying to act normal. "Good morning," he said. "Good morning." We drank coffee in silence. Then he set his cup down. "Ella," he said softly, "I need to tell you something." I waited. "I'm going to stop," he said. "Stop trying to make you remember. I can see it hurts you. And it hurts me too." My throat tightened. "I'm sorry." "Don't be," he said. "None of this is your fault." He walked to the window, staring out at the street below. "I just miss you," he whispered. "I miss us." I wanted to help him, but what could I say? What could I do? He turned toward me with a small, fragile smile. "So, let's start again." "Start again?" I repeated. "Yes," he said, "from the beginning." I didn't fully understand, but I nodded. That afternoon, he knocked on the bedroom door where I was reading. "Ella," he said, "can I come in?" "Yes." He stood in the doorway, looking nervous. "Do you want to get coffee with me?" he asked, like a real date. Like strangers. I smiled a little. "Yes," I said, "I'd like that." We walked to a small cafe downtown. Evan didn't touch me. He kept a polite distance, letting me breathe, letting me choose my pace. The cafe had yellow walls and smelled like warm bread. It felt friendly. "I like this place," I said. "I thought you would," he replied. We talked for an hour about colors, music, books. He wrote little notes on napkins so he could remember. I laughed. "You don't have to write everything down." "Maybe I do," he said with a shy smile. Talking to him felt easy, safe, comfortable. We went again the next day. And the next. And then the next week. Slowly, gently, something inside me began to shift. I started to look forward to our coffee dates, to talking to him, to seeing him smile. One morning, I even wore a nice dress. I put on lipstick. When Evan saw me, he froze. "You look beautiful," he said. My cheeks warmed. "Thank you." But then, something happened. Something that hurt worse than any memory I'd lost. I spilled my tea. "Oh no," I said, "I'm so clumsy." Evan stared at me with a strange expression, his eyes filled with tears. "You always say that," he whispered. My chest tightened. I realized something painful. He wasn't just falling in love with me. He was remembering her. The old me. And every piece of kindness I offered cut him deeper. Because I was not her. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Ethan drove through the quiet streets of Meadowbridge with the windows slightly open, letting in the cool evening air. The sky was painted in shades of violet and gold, slowly fading into the kind of darkness that invited deep thoughts. He glanced at the empty passenger seat beside him, the space where Mia once laughed, once argued, once dreamed. He didn't know if he was ready to talk to her again. But he knew one thing. He wasn't ready to lose her. When he finally pulled up outside her apartment building, the lights inside her living room were still on. Ethan felt the weight of his heartbeat in his chest, like it was trying to escape. He stepped out of the car, rehearsing the words he had been wanting to say for weeks. "I'm sorry. I miss you. I didn't know how much you mattered until you walked away." But when he reached her door, all the rehearsed words scattered, leaving only the truth behind. He knocked softly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the door opened, And there she was, Mia, wearing a hoodie and soft gray sweatpants, her hair tied loosely, her eyes tired but still shining with that quiet, familiar warmth. Something inside Ethan softened instantly. She looked at him with a mix of surprise and guarded emotion. "Ethan, you're here?" He nodded, feeling breathless. "Yeah, I needed to see you." Mia didn't speak. She just stepped aside slightly, wordlessly inviting him in. The living room felt smaller than he remembered, or maybe it felt heavier because of everything unsaid. Ethan sat on the edge of the couch while Mia stood near the window, her arms folded not out of anger, but out of self-protection. There was a long silence. Finally, Ethan took a deep breath. "I know I messed up, and I know I didn't listen. I mean really listen to you. I was so focused on what I thought was best that I never stopped to ask what you needed or how you felt." Mia lowered her gaze. "It wasn't that you didn't care, Ethan. You did. But loving someone, it's not just about caring. It's about being present. It's about hearing the quiet things, the small things, not just the big ones." Her voice cracked a little on the last word. He stood up slowly, closing the distance between them. "I hear you now, Mia. Every single thing. I hear the hurt, the silence, the things you didn't know how to say. And I'm sorry I made you feel alone while being right beside me." She turned her face slightly, blinking back tears. "Do you know how long I waited for you to say that?" "I know," he whispered, "and I'm sorry it took losing you to wake up." Her breathing trembled. "Ethan, I never wanted to walk away. I was just tired of feeling invisible." He gently lifted her chin, his fingertips warm against her skin. "You're not invisible. You never were. I just let life drown out the things that mattered most. You mattered most." Mia's eyes softened, and for the first time in months, she let herself look at him. Really look. The walls she'd built around her heart wavered. She stepped closer, almost instinctively. "Oh, do you still love me?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Ethan didn't hesitate, not even for a heartbeat. "More than anything." And there it was, her breath catching, her shoulders lowering, something inside her giving in. A single tear rolled down her cheek, and Ethan wiped it gently with his thumb. She let out a quiet, broken laugh. "Then why does it feel so hard?" "Because," Ethan said softly, "the things worth having are always hard. But I'm here now, fully. And I'm not leaving, not again, not ever." For the first time since they'd separated, Mia leaned into him, resting her forehead against his chest. Ethan's arms wrapped around her without hesitation, like they had been waiting for this moment all along. He held her tightly, his chin resting lightly on her hair. "I missed you," she whispered, her voice muffled against him. "I missed you too," he whispered back, closing his eyes as relief washed through him. They stood like that for a long time, two hearts learning to speak again, two souls trying to find their way back home. When Mia finally pulled back, There was softness in her eyes that he hadn't seen in months. "So, what now?" Ethan smiled gently, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Now we start again. Slowly. Honestly. Together." She nodded, a small but real smile tugging at her lips. "I'd like that." He extended his hand to her, not assuming, not demanding, just offering. Mia looked at his hand, then placed hers in it. Warm, familiar. Right. Eden squeezed lightly. "Mia?" "Yes." "I'm not going to lose you again." She looked up at him with eyes that finally held hope. "Then don't." Outside, the night was quiet, the moon standing like a silent witness to their beginning. Again. Inside, two hearts quietly rewrote their story, not perfect, not rushed, but real. And sometimes, real is enough to save everything. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us for more emotional journeys. Your support helps us bring more stories to life. See you in the next chapter.